I recently just lost my phone. It has been a pretty rough month, so I decided to go on Craiglist to get a new one. I ran past an iPhone 8 ad. It was posted up by some guy named Dave. The phone was around $200, which was pretty cheap for a 128 gig iPhone. At first, I found it a bit dodgy, but I eventually convinced myself to reply to the post with my contact details. The guy texted me back like 15 minutes later, followed by 3 pictures of the phone itself. I asked if we could meet up at a public restaurant that was like half a mile from my crib, just to be safe. I asked my older brother to tag along with me, as it would make me feel much more comfortable. The following afternoon, me and my brother went on our way to meet up with the guy. He seemed pretty decent, well dressed and presented. He said he was from the next town and was selling the phone because he had just bought a new one, and how he obviously needed the cash. We did the transaction, then we all went on our way. How I wish the story ended there though, but it didn't. A few days later, I am at home minding my own business, when I heard what sounded like 2 small stones hitting my bedroom window. I looked out my window to see no one there. I thought it was just my older brother goofing around as usual, so I kind of just brushed it off. I called down to him and heard him reply from his bedroom, which was just opposite my bedroom door. It was still bright and sunny outside, so I just assumed it might have been the kids in our neighborhood. Then I heard the garage door slide open. I didn't hear my car's engine run, and besides, she normally signaled for us to open the garage door for her using her car hooter. It was also a bit too early for her to be home already. I walked towards my brother's room, who was already storming out of his room to fix the mess he had made in the kitchen. We both decided to run down the stairs before hearing what sounded like someone trying to break down a door. It was the door connected to the kitchen that leads to the garage. But why would our mom be trying to break down the door though? It probably took us like 6 seconds to realize what was happening, before I ran to our house phone to dial 911. My brother grabbed a baseball bat and yelled out to whoever was out there that there were people in the house and that 911 was on its way. The people on the opposite side of the door immediately bolted out of the house, running through our front yard past our living room. I looked out the window to see 2 men in black, one with a face mask and one without. My heart nearly dropped when I noticed that it was the same guy that sold me the phone a few days back. But how did he even find me? I remember ensuring that no one was following us back home that day. The cops arrived exactly 4 minutes later, followed by my mom. We told them everything and even gave them the contact information used to communicate with the guy on the day of the exchange, including the phone. Turns out the phone was used to get my location through Find My iPhone. It was never confirmed if the phone was stolen or not, but I later destroyed it and went to buy a new one a month and a half later. I haven't used Craiglist ever since. Bought a nice longboard a few years back and quickly realized I wasn't interested. Promptly posted the board on Craiglist and some guy emailed me, offering me more than I had posted for, actually only $20 less than the new price. This was a $300 longboard. It felt fishy, but regardless, I talked to him for a bit and tried looking him up online. I found what I assumed was his Facebook page, and all that showed up to me was that he was interested in ice skating, ballet, and golden girls. Anyways, we arranged to meet up at Culver's about 10 minutes from my house. He claimed to live about 2 hours away, so I was shocked that this guy would drive so far to me to pay practically new price for a used item. It seemed worth the risk though, because I figured nothing bad could happen if I met him at a busy Culver's so close to my house. Worst comes to worst, he doesn't show up. I lose half an hour of my time. So I get there and call him for the first time. Not that it's really an issue, but the guy has an incredibly flamboyant voice, and he tells me that he's sitting inside the big booth in the corner. At this point, it was also pouring rain, so I'm going to look like a weirdo walking into Culver's during a thunderstorm, carrying a longboard, but whatever. I get in and see the creepiest looking guy sitting in the big booth in the corner. I'm talking trench raincoat, fedora, long, greasy blonde hair, and dad jeans. I approach him, and his face goes from zoning out on the seat across from him to beaming up straight at me. I say hey and show him the board. He sets it across the table and spins one of the wheels, and the only thing he says is cool. He takes out $280 and hands it to me. Then, as I'm about to leave, he offers to buy me some food. I figure what's the worst that can happen, so I oblige. I tell him I'm not picky and let him order for me. He goes up to the register and comes back and says, "I got you a root beer." He didn't order either of us food, but got me and only me a root beer. He sets it on the table and I notice him slip something in it. I said I forgot I had somewhere to be and I quickly got up and left. He lost his temper and started shouting after me as I rushed out to my car into the rain. He didn't contact me after that, but I'm pretty sure that potentially could have gotten really weird if I was an idiot. Went to Craiglist looking for a ride share from New York to Western Mass. A guy responded saying he was leaving in a week. Perfect. He gave me his number. I found out he was leaving from City Island, far away, at 7 in the morning, very early. I told him I would think about it and that he could call me back if he decides to leave later in the morning. He called me back later, though his number came up restricted. 8 a.m, still too early for me. I politely declined and ended up getting a different ride and didn't think about it for a few weeks. Fast forward to my being back in Western Mass, sleeping there next to a male friend of mine, when nearly early in the morning I get a ring from a restricted number. I answer it, still half asleep, and I ask who it is. "You know who it is," he replied, giggling. Still not completely awake, I mistake the voice for another friend of mine and carry on a very groggy conversation with who I thought was this friend. "What are you doing? Who are you with?" etc. Until he asked me what I was wearing. That kind of snapped me into awakening. I demanded to know with whom I was speaking, and he gave me a little "you know who this is" spiel again. Freaked out, I hung up and quickly woke up the guy I was next to. I suspected it might be this guy, and I still had his number from when I originally posted the ad. I used my man's phone to call him, and yes, it was him. Creepy. I googled the guy's number shortly after that, and he had posted it to numerous sketchy forums, offering to ferry escorts to and from their quarries in exchange for free services. I stopped using Craigslist rideshare after that.